Mama, I'm hungry, I want to eat, Yusef said. Don't worry, my dear, I'll make you a tomato stew, his mother replied. Yusef's mother said. I went to Mahmoud's house, our temporary neighbor, in search of a couple of tomatoes to quiet Yusef's hunger. I had instructed him to close the door tightly until I returned. His father was at the hospital fulfilling his duties, and no one could go there except for me. I hurriedly left and prayed to God to keep him safe for me. I knocked on Mahmoud's door several times, but no one answered. So, I went to the Al-Makdad family's house, on the other side of the street. I hoped to find some tomatoes for Yusef there. I hated being away from him, but there was nothing left to eat in our house. The 7 days of war were harder than anything else. How are you, Mahmoud? And how are your children? Hopefully, the shelling hasn't reached you, I asked. We're okay, as you can see. May God protect us, dear lady, she replied. I shortened my answer to Mukadad and asked her about the tomatoes. People in the war do not have the luxury of prolonged conversations, where every second can be the last. I took the tomatoes and said goodbye to her. Pray for us, Haja. We do not want to go to UNRWA. The situation there is very difficult, as they say. May Allah protect you and the people, it's all a crisis, but it will pass by the grace of God, she replied. Then, a loud explosion was heard. All I remember was that a black cloud covered everything. I suffered temporary deafness due to the strength of the explosion, but one thing occupied my mind, is Yusef safe or not? I ran towards the street, struggling to take a breath amidst the dust and smoke. There was a heavy crowd where the bombing took place, and everyone was screaming and helping the paramedics to take the victims, as if it were the horrors of the apocalypse. Did anyone see Yusef? Has anyone seen a little boy here? I do not know, I think the injured were taken away, replied a voice. Oh my friends, have you seen Yusef? Has anyone seen a young boy around here? Oh my dear, I don't know. The injured ones went to the hospital, try to find them there. I remembered Father Yusef, working as a doctor there. He hasn't returned home since the beginning of the war. I got into the ambulance heading to the hospital. All I can recall is the last moment before the door closed, the door that closed on Yusef, it's no longer there. I was afraid of the dangers of the earth instinctively as a mother, so I closed the door. How can a mother close off the danger coming from the sky? Even fear in times of war becomes different. On the second floor of the Shifa complex, I encountered his father in his green uniform, exhausted from the days of war and relentless work. He had dedicated his life to serving people, fulfilling his duty. Yusef, Yusef. I couldn't utter more than his name. He understood the reason for my presence here. People don't come to the hospital for leisure. The journey of searching for Yusef began. Yusef, 7 years old, fair-skinned, and sweet. That's what I repeated to everyone I encountered, whether a doctor, a journalist, or someone in distress, it didn't matter. All I wanted was to know Yusef's whereabouts. After several attempts and searching through multiple rooms, I grew tired. I tried to lift my feet, but fear weighed me down. I collapsed onto the nearest seat. While his father went searching, Yusef's life unfolded before my eyes. After years of marriage, I was blessed with him. He was a source of joy in my life, beautiful like the moon. His presence compensated for every deprivation. I named him Yusef, raised him, and breathed through him. Each day of my life brought new happiness as I watched Yusef grow in my arms. He played and spoke. Now, it was time for him to enter school this year. It was difficult for me. How would I be able to part with him for 8 hours every day? I waited for him by the door each day, welcoming him with open arms and his favorite tomato omelet. Leave me be. I heard Yusef's father say it with pain. I jumped towards him, screaming, maybe it wasn't him. I was trying, but he is his son and knows him. A father does not err in predicting his son's future, so how can I recognize his features? The mother's affection informed me, everything has ended. I wanted a final moment of farewell, but they prevented me. They wanted me to preserve his beautiful image in my imagination, Yusef with his curly hair, before the wars disfigure him. How can I express it? How can I explain the years of my patience waiting for Yusef to come? Yusef was the gift that compensated for my deprivation. So who will compensate for my deprivation of Yusef? I raised him with love, I deprived myself to give to him, and I endured pain and suffering for him to live as a normal child like your children. I closed the door on him to protect him, but he left along with the door. How can a mother protect her son in times of war? I used to wait for Yusef at the door every day when he returned from school. How can I wait now when Yusef is no longer here? Yusef has departed, and he was hungry.